Captain Han stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the stars stretch past the viewport. His ship had been traveling through deep space for 3 weeks, mapping unknown regions far from Earth. The mission was simple: explore, record data, and return home safely. Nothing exciting ever happened on these surveys. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," Yuna called from her station. She was the ship's science officer, always curious about every unusual reading. Her fingers moved quickly across the holographic display. Han walked over to her console. "What is it?" "A signal. It's weak, but it's definitely artificial, not human." Yuna's eyes widened as she enhanced the data. "Captain, I think it's a distress call." The bridge went quiet. Everyone knew what this meant. In all of humanity's 15 years of faster-than-light travel, they had never encountered another intelligent species. Earth was alone in its corner of the galaxy, or so they thought. Quan, the weapons officer, stood up from his station. His military background made him naturally cautious. "It could be a trap. We should report this to Earth Command and wait for instructions." "That would take weeks," Mira said from engineering. She was practical, always looking for solutions. If someone needs help, they might not have weeks. Han considered his options. The Indomitable was a research vessel, but it was built tough. Earth's engineers designed all their ships to survive in harsh conditions: heavy armor, powerful shields, and enough weapons to defend against pirates or asteroids. He made his decision. "Plot a course to the signal's origin. Yellow alert. Yuna, try to translate that message." The ship changed direction, moving toward the source of the distress call. Yuna worked on the alien language, using the computer to find patterns. After an hour, she managed to get a rough translation. "They're calling for help. Their ship is damaged and losing air. They say something attacked them." Yuna looked worried. "Captain, they mentioned something called the Corvin Empire. I think that's who attacked them." The Indomitable dropped out of faster-than-light speed near a drifting spacecraft. The alien vessel was beautiful but fragile-looking. Its hull was made of some crystalline material that seemed too delicate for space travel. Large holes vented atmosphere into the void. Pieces of debris floated around it. "Scan for life signs," Han ordered. "I'm reading 17 life forms," Yuna reported. "They're in the central section, probably where the air is still holding." "Open a communication channel." A holographic image appeared in the center of the bridge. The alien was tall and thin, with blue skin and 4 arms. His large eyes showed fear and hope at the same time. He wore what looked like ceremonial robes, now torn and burned. "This is Captain Han of Earth vessel, Indomitable. We received your distress call. Do you need assistance?" The alien's translator device kicked in, turning his melodic language into words the humans could understand. "I am Thel, captain of the trading ship Velnari. We are grateful you came. We thought we would die here." He paused, looking at something off-screen. "Please, we have wounded. Can you take us aboard? Prepare your people for transport. We're bringing you over now." Mira worked quickly to set up the emergency beam, transporting the alien survivors directly to the Indomitable's medical bay. The human crew watched in amazement as the first aliens they'd ever met materialized on their ship. The Velnari were even more fragile in person, their bones looking thin and delicate. Thel was the last to transport over. He looked around the human ship with wide eyes. "Your vessel, it's so heavy, so much metal and armor." "This is just a research ship," Han explained. "We use it for exploring and studying." Thel's face showed confusion. "Research? But your weapons, your shields, the thickness of your hull." He pulled out a small device and scanned the Indomitable. His eyes grew even wider. "By the stars, this reads as a Dreadnought-class warship on my scanner. How is this possible for a research vessel?" Yuna stepped forward, fascinated by the cultural differences. Where we come from, all ships need to be strong. Space is dangerous. Dangerous? Thel seemed puzzled. But space is mostly empty. Why such extreme protection? Asteroids, radiation, solar flares, Quan listed. Not to mention the possibility of hostile encounters. We like to be prepared. Thel was quiet for a moment, processing this information. Then he asked a question that would change everything. What is your homeworld's gravity? 1G, Han answered. Standard Earth gravity. Why? The alien's legs seemed to weaken. He grabbed onto a railing for support. 1G? That's impossible. No species can evolve under such crushing force. And your atmosphere? Oxygen-nitrogen mix, about 21% oxygen at standard pressure. Thel made a sound like a choke. Oxygen is corrosive. How do you breathe poison? Yuna smiled gently. It's not poison to us. What do you breathe? Helium and trace gases at 1/10 your pressure. Thel pulled up a database on his device, searching for Earth. When he found it, he made another shocked sound. Your world is classified as a Class 12 death world. Maximum danger rating. The gravity alone would crush most species. The atmosphere would burn their lungs. The native predators. He looked at the humans with new eyes. You're from a nightmare world. Before anyone could respond, the ship's sensors screamed a warning. Yuna checked her console and her face went pale. Captain, 6 ships just dropped out of faster-than-light speed. They're surrounding us. Thel's blue skin turned almost white. The Corvin. They followed us. He looked at Han with desperate eyes. You must run. Your ship is fast, yes? Run now. No ship has ever survived against a Corvin assault fleet. They will destroy us all. Quan was already at his weapons station, bringing systems online. Captain, their ships are smaller than ours, but there are 6 of them. Plasma weapons and electromagnetic shields, according to Thel's database. Mira spoke from engineering. Shields are charging. Weapons ready. We can fight. Han looked at the scared alien, then at his crew. They had trained for this possibility. Earth had spent 15 years preparing for the day they met hostile aliens. Every human ship was a warship, even the exploration vessels. We don't abandon people who need help, Han said firmly. He turned to his crew. Battle stations. Let's show these Corvin what humans can do. Thel couldn't believe what he was hearing. You'll fight? Against the Corvin Empire? They've conquered 40 star systems. They've never been defeated. Han sat in his captain's chair, calm and ready. Then today will be their first loss. The Corvin ships moved into attack formation, preparing to finish what they started. They had no idea they were about to meet Earth's children. They had no idea what Deathworlders could do when protecting the innocent. The battle was about to begin. The Corvin warships circled the Indomitable like predators surrounding wounded prey. Their hulls gleamed with a dark purple metal that seemed to absorb light. Each ship was slightly smaller than Han's vessel, but they moved with practiced coordination. They had done this many times before. On the bridge, Quan studied the tactical display. He had spent 20 years in Earth's military before joining the exploration service. His trained eyes analyzed the enemy formation, their weapon placements, their shield configurations. What he saw made him almost smile. Captain, these ships are designed for fighting other Corvin vessels or weaker targets. Their shields focus on deflecting energy weapons. Their hulls are light for speed. He looked up from his console. They're not ready for what we carry. Mira diverted power from non-essential systems to shields and weapons. The Indomitable hummed with energy as its war systems came fully online. In engineering, automated systems loaded tungsten slugs into the railgun magazines. Missiles armed themselves in their tubes. Point defense cannons tracked potential threats. Thel watched all this from a corner of the bridge, staying out of the way. The other Velnari survivors huddled in the medical bay, praying to their gods. They had seen Corvin attacks before. No one survived. No one fought back. You either surrendered or died. A harsh voice came over the communication channel. The hologram showed a Corvin commander, his red skin covered in ritual scars, his 4 eyes burning with arrogance. Primitive vessel, I am Vrex, war leader of the Corvin Third Fleet. You harbor prey that belongs to the Empire. Surrender them, and you may leave with your lives. Han kept his voice calm. The people on my ship are under my protection. You attacked a defenseless trading vessel. Leave now or face the consequences. Vrex's laugh sounded like grinding metal. Consequences? You dare threaten the Corvin Empire with one pathetic ship? He leaned closer to the camera. I will enjoy breaking you apart. All 6 of my ships will fire together. Your shields will fail. Your hull will crack, and you will beg for mercy before the end. I don't think so, Han said quietly. He closed the channel. The Corvin ships opened fire simultaneously. Plasma bolts, each one carrying enough energy to vaporize a city block, streaked through space toward the Indomitable. The Velnari closed their eyes, expecting death. The plasma hit the human shields and spread out like water hitting a window. The bridge lights dimmed slightly as the shields absorbed the energy, then stabilized. Quan checked his readouts and reported in a bored voice, shields holding at 94%. Minimal power drain. Thel's eyes went wide. Impossible. That was a full alpha strike. It should have destroyed you. Their plasma dispersal is inefficient, Quan explained while targeting the nearest Corvin ship. And our shields were designed to handle much worse. He looked at Han. Captain, weapons ready. Fire. The Indomitable unleashed its railguns. These weren't energy weapons that the Corvin shields could deflect. These were chunks of solid tungsten, accelerated to a fraction of light speed by electromagnetic force. The slugs crossed the distance in milliseconds. The first Corvin ship never knew what hit it. The tungsten round punched through its shield as if it wasn't there, then tore through the hull from bow to stern. The ship split in half, atmosphere and debris erupting from the wound. The second ship took 3 rounds to its engine section and went dark, tumbling through space. Vrex's confident expression vanished, replaced by shock. What? What kind of weapons are those? Kinetic, Quan said, even though Vrex couldn't hear him. He was already targeting the next ship. We learned a long time ago that sometimes the old ways work best. Mira launched missiles. The Corvin point defense systems tried to intercept, but they were too slow. They were used to plasma bolts they could see coming, not solid projectiles moving at incredible speeds. The missiles struck 2 more Corvin ships, then the nuclear warheads detonated. Fusion fire bloomed in the darkness of space, each explosion like a miniature sun. The Corvin ships caught in the blasts simply ceased to exist, vaporized in temperatures hotter than a star's core. The shock waves damaged 2 other ships nearby, cracking their hulls and disabling their weapons. Thel fell to his knees. By all the stars, you have antimatter weapons? Nuclear, not antimatter, Yuna corrected gently. We save the antimatter for special occasions. The battle had lasted less than 3 minutes. Of the 6 Corvin ships, 2 were destroyed, 2 were crippled and drifting, and 2 remained functional but badly shaken. Vrex stared at his tactical display in disbelief. His fleet had conquered dozens of worlds. They had never met serious resistance. Now, more than half his ships were gone, and the human vessel showed only minor shield damage. What are you? Vrex whispered, though his channel was still closed. Han opened communications again. This is your only warning. Leave now, or I'll finish what you started. Vrex's pride warred with his survival instinct. He had never retreated from a battle, but he had also never faced anything like this. Finally, survival won. This isn't over, human. The Empire will learn of you. They will send a real fleet, And you will burn. The two remaining functional Corvin ships grabbed the crippled vessels with tractor beams and prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed. Quan's finger hovered over the firing button. "Captain, I can destroy them before they escape." Han considered it for a moment, then shook his head. Let them go. Let them report what happened here. Maybe it will make the next Corvin commander think twice. The Corvin ships vanished into faster-than-light travel, leaving wreckage and debris behind. The Indomitable secured from battle stations. Mira ran diagnostics on all systems, while Quan remained alert for any other surprises. Thel slowly stood up, his legs still shaking. He looked at the humans with a mixture of awe and fear. "You defeated a Corvin assault fleet, 1 ship against 6, and you made it look easy." "It wasn't easy," Han said. "We just had better tools and training." He gestured to the viewport. "Now let's get you and your people somewhere safe." Gia, one of the Velnari navigators, entered the bridge. She had been helping in medical, using her knowledge of Velnari biology. She looked at the debris field outside and asked Thel a question in their language. He answered, and she turned to face the humans. "Captain Han, we owe you our lives, but I must ask, where is Earth located?" Yuna pulled up a star chart and highlighted humanity's home system. Gia consulted her own database, cross-referencing the coordinates. When she found Earth's classification, she went very still. "Class 12 Deathworld," she read aloud. "Gravity 1G, atmospheric pressure, crushing, dominant species, persistence predators, climate, extreme temperature variations, native life, highly aggressive, threat assessment, maximum." She looked up at the humans. "Your world would kill most species within hours. How do you even survive there?" "We're adapted to it," Yuna explained. "Earth made us strong. It taught us to be tough, to prepare for the worst, to work together against threats." "But you called this a research ship," Thel protested. "If this is what you use for research, what do your warships look like?" The humans exchanged glances. Quan answered with a slight grin. "Much bigger. Much more heavily armed. This ship was designed to explore and study. Our military vessels are designed for war." "How many do you have?" "That's classified," Han said diplomatically, "but enough to protect Earth and her interests." Thel pulled up another database entry, this one about human history that the Velnari had gathered from radio signals. His face showed horror as he read about Earth's wars, the world wars, the conflicts, the weapons humanity had created, nuclear bombs, chemical weapons, biological warfare, strategic warfare on a scale that would destroy most civilizations. "You fought each other," Thel said quietly. "Your own species. Wars that killed millions, and now you use that knowledge against others." "We learned from our mistakes," Han said firmly. "We stopped fighting each other and started working together. But we never forgot the lessons. When someone threatens innocent people, we remember how to fight." Gia spoke up again. "Captain, we must get word to the Council of Stars. They need to know about humanity, about Earth." She paused. "About the Deathworlders who might save us all." Han set course for the Velnari home system, following the coordinates they provided. As the Indomitable jumped to faster-than-light speed, Thel sat in a corner, recording everything that had happened. The galaxy was about to change. The Corvin Empire had ruled through fear and violence for centuries. Now they had met their match. Now they had encountered species from a nightmare world. Warriors who protected instead of conquered. Deathworlders with honor. The message would spread quickly. Humanity had arrived among the stars. And nothing would ever be the same. The Indomitable emerged from faster-than-light travel near the Velnari homeworld. Thel pointed at the blue-green planet ahead, tears forming in his large eyes. "Home. I never thought I would see it again." The planet was beautiful, covered in shallow oceans and floating cities connected by delicate bridges. Everything about Velnari architecture emphasized grace and elegance. Their civilization had never known war, never needed weapons, never built for defense. As the ship approached, dozens of other vessels came out to meet them. Not warships, but trading vessels, scientific craft, and diplomatic shuttles. The Velnari were a peaceful people who had built their society on commerce and cooperation. That peace had made them easy victims for the Corvan Empire. Han received a transmission from the planet's surface. Captain Han of Earth, this is the Council of Stars. We request your presence at an emergency session. The entire council wishes to meet you. The council chamber was enormous, designed to hold representatives from 12 different species. Each had their own section adapted to their specific needs, different atmospheres, gravities, and environments. The humans wore simple pressure suits, more out of courtesy than necessity. Ambassador Nam arrived from Earth aboard a fast diplomatic ship, accompanied by Hana, a military strategist. They joined Han, Yuna, Quan, and Mira in representing humanity at this historic first contact. The council members studied the humans with obvious curiosity and nervousness. The council speaker, a being that looked like a floating jellyfish in a tank of luminescent fluid, began the session. Humans of Earth, we welcome you to the Council of Stars. We have gathered representatives from 12 peaceful civilizations. We exist to promote trade, share knowledge, and protect our cultures. The speaker paused. Or we did, until the Corvan Empire began their conquest. Another council member spoke, a small, furry creature with 6 legs. The Corvan have taken 4 of our worlds. They demand tribute from the rest. If we refuse, they destroy entire cities. We have no way to fight them. Why not? Hana asked bluntly. She was a practical woman who had spent her career analyzing military conflicts. You have ships, resources, populations. Why not defend yourselves? The room fell silent. Finally, a bird-like alien spoke. We don't understand warfare. Our species evolved without predators. We have no concept of organized violence. When the Corvan came, we didn't even realize they meant to hurt us until it was too late. Yuna spoke gently. You've never had wars? Never fought over resources or territory? Why would we? The jellyfish speaker asked. The galaxy is vast. There is room for everyone. Resources can be traded. Conflicts can be negotiated. The Corvan don't negotiate, Thel added bitterly. They take what they want and destroy anyone who resists. Ambassador Nam studied the council members carefully. These were intelligent, sophisticated civilizations with technology in some ways more advanced than Earth's. But they had one critical weakness. They had never learned to fight. Evolution on gentle worlds with abundant resources had given them no reason to develop weapons or military tactics. Earth was different. Earth had made humanity struggle for every advantage. The gravity crushed, the weather killed, the predators hunted. Early humans had learned to fight or die. That knowledge had never left them. Show us the Corvan Empire's extent, Nam requested. A holographic map appeared in the center of the chamber. The Corvan territory covered 40 star systems, each marked in red. The council worlds were scattered around the edges, 12 systems in yellow. Earth, far on the other side of known space, appeared in blue. Quan studied the map with a strategist's eye. They're overextended, their supply lines are vulnerable. They're relying on fear more than actual military strength. One human ship defeated 6 of their warships, Thel said to the council. I witnessed it. The humans have weapons and defenses we never imagined. Kinetic weapons that ignore shields, nuclear explosives, armor that can withstand concentrated plasma fire. The council members whispered among themselves in various languages. Finally, the speaker addressed the humans directly. We wish to formally request Earth's assistance. We offer full membership in the Council, complete access to our trade networks and technologies. In exchange, we ask for your help in stopping the Corvan Empire." Nam looked at his fellow humans. They had discussed this possibility during the journey here. Earth had only just begun exploring the galaxy. They weren't looking for a war. But could they stand by while entire civilizations were enslaved or destroyed? Before Nam could answer, every screen in the chamber lit up with an emergency broadcast. A Corvan official appeared, his red skin marked with more elaborate scars than Vrex had worn. "Attention, primitive species of the Council. I am High Commander Cross of the Corvan Empire. We have learned of a new species calling themselves humans from a world called Earth." The broadcast showed surveillance footage of the battle between the Indomitable and Vrex's fleet. Cross continued speaking over the images. "These humans destroyed 6 of our ships. This aggression will not be tolerated. We hereby demand that Earth surrender immediately and offer tribute to the Empire. You have one of your months to comply." The footage changed to show Corvan shipyards, where massive vessels were being constructed. "If you refuse, we will assemble an armada. We will travel to your primitive world, and we will reduce it to ashes as a lesson to all who would defy the Corvan Empire." The broadcast ended. The council chamber erupted in panicked discussions. Several members suggested that the humans should flee, hide, negotiate. They didn't understand that Cross had just made a fatal mistake. Hana was smiling. "They threatened our home world." Quan was actually laughing. "They have no idea what they just did." Nam stood up, and the chamber gradually fell silent. "Members of the council, we accept your offer of alliance, not because we want payment or technology, but because it's the right thing to do. We will help you stand against the Corvan Empire." The speaker's tentacles quivered with hope. "Truly? You would risk war with the Empire for us?" "It's not a risk anymore," Hana said. "They already declared war when they threatened Earth. They just don't realize it yet." Captain Day entered the chamber, having just arrived aboard the warship Relentless. He was one of Earth's senior military commanders sent to assess the situation. His ship was a true warship, 3 times the size of the Indomitable and bristling with weapons. "Ambassador Nam, I bring a message from Earth Command," Day said. "The Corvan ultimatum has been received and rejected. The Security Council has authorized military action." He smiled grimly. "We're also sending a reply to the Corvan." A technician set up a recorder. Nam composed himself and spoke clearly. "High Commander Cross, this is Ambassador Nam representing Earth and humanity. Your ultimatum is rejected. Your threat to our home world is noted. We will not surrender. We will not pay tribute. We will not run." He paused for effect. "Instead, we invite you to come to Earth. Come see what a Class 12 death world looks like. Come see what happens when you threaten humanity's home. Come see what predators from a nightmare world can do when protecting what they love." The message was broadcast across all known Corvan channels. In their throne world, Cross watched with rage. He had expected fear, begging, surrender. Instead, these primitives were challenging him. Back in the council chamber, the alien representatives were stunned by humanity's bold response. Thel spoke up. "Ambassador, do you understand what you've done? The Corvan will send everything they have. Hundreds of ships. They will try to destroy Earth completely." "Let them try," Day said calmly. "We've been preparing for this since we first achieved faster-than-light travel. We always assumed the galaxy would be hostile. We built our ships strong. We trained our people. We developed weapons that could fight an interstellar war." He looked at the council members. "The Corvan conquered species that didn't know how to fight back. We're not one of those species." Nam continued the diplomatic work. "We propose a joint defense initiative. We'll help fortify your worlds, train your people in basic defense, and position our ships to protect council territory. In return, We ask for your support in the coming conflict." The council voted unanimously to accept. For the first time in decades, they felt hope. These strange beings from Earth, these Deathworlders who had evolved in hell and chosen to be heroes, might actually save them. As the meeting ended, Yuna spoke with several council scientists about sharing technology. The aliens had advances in medicine, energy production, and materials science. Humanity had advances in weapons, armor, and military tactics. Together, they might create something neither could achieve alone. Mira met with council engineers, already designing hybrid ships that combined alien efficiency with human durability. Quan began organizing training programs to teach council species basic defensive strategies. But everyone knew the real battle was coming. The Corvan Empire would not ignore this challenge. They would gather their forces and strike at Earth, intending to make an example that would terrify the galaxy into submission. They didn't know that Earth had been preparing for this moment. They didn't know about the shipyards in orbit around Luna and Mars. They didn't know about the defense platforms, the trained crews, the weapons developed specifically for space warfare. The Corvan thought they were predators attacking prey. They were about to learn the difference between predators and apex predators. They were about to meet the children of Earth and discover why Deathworlders should never be threatened. 3 months passed quickly. In that time, the galaxy watched and waited. The Corvan Empire assembled their invasion fleet at the edge of their territory, making no secret of their preparations. They wanted fear to spread. They wanted the council species to see what happened to those who defied the Empire. High Commander Cross commanded the Armada from his flagship, a massive vessel called the Imperial Fist. Around him, 200 warships gathered, each one crewed by warriors who had never known defeat. This was more than a military operation. It was a statement of absolute power. "Are the humans afraid yet?" Cross asked his intelligence officer. "No, Commander. In fact, they seem to be excited. Their communications show anticipation, not fear. They've been preparing extensively." Cross laughed. "Let them prepare. What can one primitive world do against the might of the Empire? We will crush them, enslave the survivors, and broadcast their defeat across the galaxy. The Council will surrender within days." At Earth, a very different preparation was underway. Admiral Hyun stood in the command center on Luna, Earth's moon, watching tactical displays that showed every human ship in the solar system. He was a veteran of the resource wars, the last major conflict humanity had fought among themselves. That experience taught him that preparation and strategy beat raw numbers every time. "Status report," he ordered. Rena, his tactical officer, highlighted the defensive positions on the holographic display. "All ships are in position. The outer perimeter has 50 vessels commanded by Captain Wu. The middle layer has 70 ships. The inner defense ring around Earth has 30 of our heaviest cruisers." "What about the moon bases?" Hyun asked. Jin, who commanded the Lunar Defense Network, responded from another screen. "All 12 stations are fully operational, Admiral. Each one has enough firepower to level a continent. Our railguns can hit targets at 1 million kilometers with pinpoint accuracy. Missile batteries are loaded and ready." "And the planetary shields?" "Online and stable. They can withstand sustained bombardment for weeks, though I doubt we'll need that long." Hyun allowed himself a small smile. Earth had spent 15 years and enormous resources preparing for this possibility. Every prediction, every war game, every strategic analysis assumed humanity would eventually meet hostile aliens. The Corvan were actually arriving later than expected. A delegation from the Council of Stars arrived to witness Earth's defenses. Thel and Gia came aboard the command station, accompanied by representatives from 6 other species. What they saw shocked them into silence. The orbital platforms were massive structures bristling with weapons. Each one was larger than the biggest council city and carried more firepower than most species' entire fleets. Automated defense drones numbered in the millions, controlled by advanced artificial intelligence. Fighter squadrons practiced maneuvers, each craft moving with precision that organic pilots couldn't match. This is insane, Thel whispered, staring at the tactical display. You have more military assets in one star system than the entire Council has in 12 systems. We're a young species, Yuna explained. She had returned to Earth to help with the Council liaison work. We only achieved spaceflight a few centuries ago. We've spent most of our history fighting each other, preparing for threats, building defenses. When we reached the stars, we simply applied the same principles on a larger scale. A small alien with crystalline skin asked nervously, "But don't you fear your own weapons? With this much power, couldn't your military take over your civilian government?" "That's why we have checks and balances," Yuna said. "Our military serves the people, not the other way around. Admiral Hyun answers to Earth's elected leaders. If he disobeyed orders or tried to seize power, the rest of humanity would stop him." Hyun joined the conversation via the communication link. It's also worth noting that every person in our military volunteered. We're citizens first, soldiers second. We fight to protect, not to conquer. The Council delegates watched as a supply ship arrived from Mars. The red planet had been transformed into a manufacturing hub, producing everything from ammunition to spare parts. Automated factories worked around the clock, turning raw materials into instruments of war. Gia pulled Yuna aside. "I must ask something difficult. You humans speak of protection and defense. But with weapons like these, how do we know you won't become the next Corvan Empire? How do we know you won't turn on us once the Corvan are defeated?" It was a fair question. Yuna understood the fear. Because we remember what it's like to be weak. Earth wasn't always unified. We had wars, oppression, suffering. We know what it's like to be the victim. That's why we made ourselves strong, so we'd never be victims again. But we also swore we'd never become the oppressor. "Words are easy," Gia said quietly. "True. So judge us by our actions. We could have ignored your distress call. We could have let the Corvan destroy the Velnari. We could have refused to help the Council. But we didn't. We chose to fight for people we'd never met, for species we didn't know existed." Yuna met the alien's eyes. That's who humans are. Meanwhile, the Corvan fleet completed final preparations. Cross reviewed his battle plan one more time. The strategy was simple. Overwhelming force. Jump into Earth's system, destroy any defending ships, bombard the planet until the humans surrendered. Simple, proven, effective. His intelligence officer showed him updated scans of the Sol system. "Commander, we're detecting significant military presence, more than initially estimated." "How many ships?" "Approximately 150 by our count, plus numerous orbital installations." Cross waved dismissively. "We have 200 ships. Numbers are in our favor. Besides, these are humans, primitives from a backwards world. Their technology cannot match the Empire's centuries of conquest." What the Corvan didn't know was that their intelligence was incomplete. Human stealth technology, developed during the resource wars, hit another 50 vessels. The defense platforms showed on sensors, but their true capabilities were masked. The Corvan scans read weapons designed to destroy asteroids, not weapons designed to annihilate armored warships. Back on Earth, people watched the preparations with calm determination. This wasn't panic or fear. This was humanity doing what it did best, facing a threat head-on. News broadcasts showed families saying goodbye to military personnel, but also showed citizens volunteering for civil defense, factories increasing production, scientists working on countermeasures. Children watched spacecraft maneuver in the sky above, learning to identify different ship classes. Schools taught basic emergency procedures. But there was no mass evacuation, no surrender talk, no despair. Humans had faced extinction threats before: ice ages, supervolcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, nuclear war. They had survived them all. Admiral Hyun addressed the fleet in a broadcast that reached every ship, every station, every soldier. In a few hours, the Corvin Armada will arrive. They think they're coming to conquer a primitive world. They think we'll be easy prey. They're wrong. He paused, letting his words sink in. We've been preparing for this moment since we first looked at the stars and wondered what was out there. We built ships that could survive anything. We trained crews to fight in the darkness of space. We developed weapons that could win wars, not because we wanted to conquer, but because we refused to be conquered. The Corvin have enslaved entire civilizations. They've destroyed worlds that couldn't defend themselves. But we can defend ourselves. And we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for the Council species who asked for our help. We're fighting for the right to exist without fear. We're fighting to show the galaxy that bullies can be stopped. Across the fleet, men and women readied themselves. Some prayed to various gods. Others wrote final messages to loved ones, just in case. Many simply checked their equipment one more time, ensuring everything was perfect. Rena detected the first signs of the Corvin fleet's approach. "Admiral, we're picking up gravity waves. Multiple faster-than-light signatures. Big ones." "Battle stations," Hyun ordered calmly. "All ships assume defensive positions. Stealth vessels remain hidden until my command. Point defense systems active. Shields to maximum." The Council delegates watched from the safety of the Lunar Command Center. Thel gripped the railing tightly. "This is it. May your gods protect you, humans." "We don't need gods," Jin said from his station, finishing the weapons check. "We have railguns." The Corvin fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system, exactly where Hyun had predicted. 200 ships, the largest invasion force the Corvin had ever assembled. They began their approach toward Earth, confident in their victory. Admiral Hyun watched them come. The trap was set. The pieces were in position. Now it was time to show the Corvin what happened when they threatened a death world. It was time to show them that humanity didn't just survive on a nightmare planet. They thrived there, grew strong there, and learned to fight there. "All ships," Hyun said quietly, "prepare to engage." The Corvin Armada moved through Earth's solar system like a swarm of locusts. 200 warships in perfect formation, weapons charged, shields raised. They passed the outer planets without slowing, heading straight for the blue-green world that dared to defy the Empire. High Commander Cross stood on the bridge of his flagship, savoring his moment of triumph. Soon, Earth would burn. Soon, the galaxy would learn what happened to those who challenged Corvin dominance. He opened a communication channel to the planet below. "Primitive humans, this is your final chance. Surrender now, offer tribute, and we will merely enslave you. Resist, and we will turn your world into a tomb." The response came from Admiral Hyun, his voice calm and unbothered. "Commander Cross, this is Admiral Hyun of the Earth Defense Fleet. You've traveled a long way to die today. I'm giving you one chance to turn around and leave. This is your only warning." Cross laughed, the sound harsh and cruel. "You dare? With your pathetic handful of ships against the might of the Empire? I will enjoy watching your world die." He closed the channel and ordered his fleet to attack formation. "All ships, prepare to fire. Target their orbital installations first, then their cities." What Cross didn't see were the 50 stealth ships moving into position behind his fleet, their cloaking systems hiding them perfectly. What he didn't know was that every human weapon was aimed at his ships, tracking solutions calculated and locked. What he couldn't imagine was that he had just sailed into a carefully prepared killing ground. "Fire," Hyun said simply. The solar system exploded with violence. Every human defense platform, every ship, every lunar base opened fire at once. Railgun slugs crossed the distance at a fraction of light speed, hitting the Corvan fleet before they could react. The tungsten rounds punched through shields and armor like they were made of paper. The first 20 Corvan ships died in the opening salvo. Hulls ruptured. Reactors exploded. Crews died before they understood what was happening. The beautiful formation dissolved into chaos as captains tried desperately to evade the invisible death raining down on them. "Shields!" Cross screamed. "Raise shields to maximum!" "They're already at maximum, Commander," his tactical officer replied, voice shaking. "The human weapons ignore our shields. They're using solid projectiles, not energy weapons." The stealth ships decloaked behind the Corvan fleet and launched their missiles. Hundreds of warheads streaked toward their targets, each one carrying either conventional explosives, nuclear fusion, or electromagnetic pulse charges. The Corvan point defense tried to respond, but they had never faced this volume of fire. Explosions bloomed throughout the enemy fleet. 3 more ships vanished in nuclear fire. 5 others went dark as EMP weapons fried their electrical systems. The carefully organized armada became a confused mob, ships colliding with each other as they tried to maneuver away from the human fire. Captain Wu commanded the outer perimeter vessels. His ships swept in from the flanks, catching the Corvan in a crossfire. "Target their command ships. Take out their leadership." Rena coordinated the attack from the Lunar Command Center, directing fire from dozens of platforms and ships. She identified the Corvan flagship by its size and position. "All batteries, focus fire on the Imperial Fist. Let's cut off the head of the snake." 50 railguns targeted Cross's ship simultaneously. The flagship's shields collapsed under the first hits. The second wave tore into the hull, ripping through decks and compartments. The third wave destroyed the ship's main reactor. Cross had time for one final thought before his flagship exploded. These weren't primitive prey. These were apex predators. And he had attacked their home. Without their commander, the Corvan fleet fell into complete disorder. Some captains tried to continue the attack. Others attempted to retreat. Many simply froze, unable to process what was happening. In their centuries of conquest, they had never experienced defeat like this. Jin activated the Lunar Defense Network's main batteries. Massive railguns built into the moon itself fired shells the size of cars. Each shot could destroy a capital ship with a single hit. He targeted the Corvan carriers and supply vessels, the ships that kept the fleet operational. On Earth's surface, people watched the battle unfold on screens and through telescopes. The orbital explosions were visible from the ground, brief flashes of light against the darkness of space. Children cheered. Adults held each other, proud and relieved. This was humanity's finest hour, not because they were destroying an enemy, but because they were protecting everything they loved. The Corvan tried to regroup, forming defensive clusters to concentrate their firepower. But human tactics anticipated this. Mira had studied every battle the Corvan had fought, analyzed every pattern, identified every weakness. She transmitted new targeting priorities to all ships. "Hit them where they cluster," she ordered. "Use the antimatter warheads." Human technology had surpassed the Corvan in one critical area, antimatter containment. Earth scientists had developed stable antimatter weapons 5 years ago, but had been reluctant to use them. The destructive power was almost too much. But faced with an invasion fleet threatening their homeworld, humanity unleashed these terrible weapons. 3 missiles, each carrying antimatter warheads, struck the largest Corvan ship concentrations. The matter-antimatter annihilation released energy that dwarfed even nuclear explosions. Entire sections of the Corvan fleet simply ceased to exist, converted to pure energy in microseconds. The council delegates watching from the lunar base stood in stunned silence. Thel could barely speak. This isn't a battle. It's an execution." It's justice, Una said quietly. The Corvin conquered 40 systems. They destroyed countless lives. They threatened Earth. This is what happens when you pick a fight with Deathworlders. After 6 hours of continuous combat, the Corvin fleet was shattered. Of the 200 ships that had entered the solar system, only 15 remained functional. They were surrounded, outgunned, and completely demoralized. Their warrior pride broken, they tried to flee. But Hyun had positioned ships at every escape route. The Corvin were trapped in a system they had expected to conquer easily. Now it was their prison. The acting Corvin commander, a subordinate who had taken over after Cross's death, opened a communication channel. "We surrender. Please, mercy, we surrender." "No," Hyun said coldly. "You showed no mercy to the species you conquered. You promised to turn Earth into a tomb. Why should we show you mercy?" The council delegates held their breath. Would the humans become what they fought against? Would they destroy a beaten enemy? Hyun let the silence stretch, then continued. "However, we're not like you. We don't kill the helpless, even when they deserve it." He paused. "You will surrender your ships intact. Your crews will be taken prisoner. You will face trial for your crimes against the council species. And you will carry a message back to your empire." The remaining Corvin ships were boarded by human marines in powered armor. The Corvin warriors who had terrorized the galaxy found themselves facing humans who stood taller, moved faster, and hit harder than anything they had ever encountered. Resistance was brief and futile. Admiral Hyun recorded a message and sent it on all Corvin frequencies, ensuring every ship in the Empire would receive it. "I am Admiral Hyun of Earth. Your invasion fleet came to our home system with 200 ships. 15 survived. The rest were destroyed or captured." He gestured to show Corvin prisoners being escorted away. "Your warriors are now our prisoners. Your ships are now our salvage. Your empire's expansion is over. If you ever threaten any council species again, if you ever attack another innocent world, we will come for you. And we won't stop at your borders. We'll hunt down every ship, every base, every world under your control until the Corvin Empire is nothing but a memory." The transmission ended with footage of the battle, showing the complete destruction of the Corvin fleet. It was broadcast across the galaxy, reaching the Council worlds, the Corvin territories, and every species in between. The reaction was immediate. On Council worlds, celebrations erupted. Species that had lived in fear for decades danced in their streets, crying tears of joy. The Corvin Empire, which had seemed invincible, had been defeated by a single species from a single world. On Corvin planets, the reaction was shock and fear. Their leaders watched the footage in disbelief. The Empire began to fracture as subjugated species saw their chance for freedom. Rebellions erupted across Corvin space. The species they had conquered for centuries rose up together, demanding liberation. Within weeks, the Corvin Empire collapsed. Without their military might to enforce control, they had nothing. Former slave species formed their own governments, sometimes peacefully, sometimes through violent revolution. The Council of Stars expanded rapidly, welcoming new members who had been freed. Back on Earth, humanity adjusted to its new role in galactic affairs. The Council formally requested that Earth take the lead in military defense, which humanity accepted with conditions. They would defend the innocent, but they would also teach Council species to defend themselves. No more helpless victims. No more species unable to resist conquest. Captain Han was promoted to Admiral, commanding the Joint Human Council fleet. His mission: patrol the galaxy, respond to threats, and ensure no empire could rise to threaten the weak again. The Indomitable, repaired and upgraded, became his flagship. Una established the Interspecies Research Institute, where humans and council scientists worked together. The aliens brought advanced knowledge in medicine, energy, and materials. Humans contributed their expertise in engineering, weapons, and defensive systems. Together, they created technologies neither could have developed alone. Mira designed new hybrid warships, combining human armor and firepower with alien efficiency and speed. These vessels would protect Council space for generations. Quan trained the first classes of Council defense forces, teaching them tactics and strategies. It was slow work, teaching peaceful species to think like warriors, but necessary. Years passed. The Corvan remnants signed a peace treaty, their territory reduced to a handful of systems, their military disbanded. Former Corvan subjects joined the Council as equals. The galaxy entered a new era of cooperation and mutual defense. Ambassador Nam stood before the expanded Council of Stars, now representing 30 species. When humanity first entered galactic society, we were alone and afraid. We built weapons because we expected hostility. We prepared for war because we assumed the worst. He smiled. We were right to be prepared, but wrong about what we would find. We found friends, allies, and people worth protecting. The galaxy called us Deathworlders, and they were right. Earth made us strong, taught us to fight, gave us the tools to survive anything. But Earth also taught us compassion, cooperation, and the value of protecting those who cannot protect themselves. We could have been conquerors. We chose to be guardians instead. Thel, now representing the Velnari on the Council, stood to speak. Humanity saved my ship, my crew, and ultimately my entire civilization. They faced an empire that had conquered 40 systems, and they did it to protect species they had just met. That is the true measure of a civilization, not how strong they are, but what they do with that strength. On Earth, children learned about the Battle of Saul in their history classes. They learned about Admiral Hyun's strategy, about the technology that won the day, about the courage of the defenders, but they also learned about the Velnari refugees, the Council's plea for help, and humanity's choice to fight for others. The message was clear. Strength without compassion was tyranny. Humanity had the power to conquer the galaxy if they wanted, but they had chosen a different path. They had chosen to be protectors, not oppressors. They had chosen to lift up the weak, not exploit them. In the years that followed, humanity's reputation spread. When new species achieved space travel and feared the unknown galaxy, they found humans waiting to welcome them, to trade with them, to defend them if needed. The Deathworlders from Earth became known as the galaxy's guardians, the species that would fight anyone's battles if the cause was just. And in the depths of space, on the edge of explored territory, Admiral Han stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, looking at the stars. His crew was a mix of humans and Council species now, working together, learning from each other. They were heading toward an unknown signal, responding to a distress call from a species they had never met. Yuna, still serving as his science officer after all these years, smiled at him. "Another rescue mission, Captain?" "Admiral now," he corrected with a grin. "But yes, another rescue. That's what we do." The ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, racing towards someone in need, because that's who humanity was. That's who they chose to be. Deathworlders with hearts, warriors with honor, and the galaxy was better for it.